The thin eyebrow trend has cycled in and out of fashion multiple times, but its most notable modern resurgence began in the 1990s and early 2000s. Supermodels like Kate Moss and celebrities such as Drew Barrymore and Christina Aguilera popularized ultra-thin, highly arched brows during this era. The look was influenced by minimalist, high-fashion aesthetic of the time. However, the trend dates back even further. Thin eyebrows were also a defining beauty standard in the 1920s and 1930s, with Hollywood actresses like Clara Bow and Jean Harlow sporting pencil-thin, highly stylized brows. Another honorable mention for me would also have to be Pamela Anderson. I think during that Baywatch era, she really embodied that thin eyebrow aesthetic as well. She looked great with it. I feel like the hair, the makeup during that 90s era just tied everything together perfectly, and I'm just super obsessed with that look. Thin eyebrows were also a defining beauty trend for many black celebrities in the 1990s and early 2000s, influenced by both mainstream fashion and distinct black cultural aesthetics. The look was embraced by R&B singers, actresses, and hip-hop icons, shaping beauty standards within the black community and beyond. In R&B and hip-hop culture, artists like Aaliyah, Brandy, TLC, and Mary J. Blige popularized the thin, arched brow look. These women often paired their brows with glossy lips, dark lip liner, and edgy hairstyles, which became signature elements of 90s black beauty. The hairstyles in this era can also use a separate video, because they all just kind of ate. Like, I live for that 90s, early 2000s look, like the makeup, just the subtle beauty of it all. Obsessed. And when it came to actresses and TV personalities, stars like Nia Long, Vivica A. Fox, Gabrielle Union, and Jada Pinkett Smith frequently wore thin, well-groomed brows that complemented the sleek and polished aesthetic of the era. Their influence spread through movies, sitcoms, and magazines like Jet and Essence. Do y'all remember those magazines? Essence is still doing its thing, but Jet, I believe, is discontinued. But I just remember going to the beauty salon and seeing like Jet Beauty of the Week. Like, that was a thing. Let's not forget that. It's iconic. And speaking of 90s sitcoms or just TV personalities in general, even though Brandy's like a huge star, and Moesha, she probably has like my personal favorite thin brows. Like, I don't know, it's just something about that time with her on Moesha, like as she was maturing and like growing up on the show. The brows just ate. Like, I just love that thin brow look on her. And she was just so, she just looked so good on that show. Like, I don't know. I don't care what nobody say. I feel like she's extremely underrated when it comes to like that 90s sitcoms era. Like, we don't talk about her enough. Like, Moesha, aka Brandy, like, she was tea. Rap icons like Lil' Kim and Foxy Brown not only embraced thin eyebrows, but also helped define a bolder, high glam aesthetic that blended streetwear with high fashion. Lil' Kim in particular was known for pairing her ultra-thin brows with colorful wigs, elaborate makeup, and designer outfits. Also, Missy Elliott and Erykah Badu, they also were very unique in terms of like that avant-garde style, but also rocking the thin eyebrow trend in like a different way. Of course, Missy Elliott was more like futuristic with her sharp makeup looks, and Badu was more natural with her like bohemian twist in that vibe. And I'm just naming a few celebrities that I kind of grew up with. There were so many celebrities in the 90s and 2000s that just absolutely killed this high brow, high arch look. I think it just looked great on everyone. And yeah, I think this should definitely make a comeback. Despite this trend being highly popularized in the 90s and the 2000s, as the 2010s ushered in, there was a preference for more fuller brows. So many of those who maybe over-plucked in the 90s, they turned to microblading or like brow pencils to reshape their look. I also vaguely remember an interview that Megan Good did where she spoke about how she had to get an eyebrow transplant due to the excessive plucking that she did in the 90s. That her eyebrows actually stopped growing because of it, so she had to get like a whole transplant.
The natural shape of my brows before I went through the whole 90s debacle were actually very straight. So when we talked about the procedure, I was like, I would like a little bit more of an arch. When I was about 15 is when I started to pluck them. And then by the time I was 19, in the 90s, the brows were like, there you go. I was 16 there. The brows were like super, super, super thin. And by the time I was 19, they stopped growing back.
There was some good and bad times when it comes to the over-plucking and the thin brows look. Recently, the thin brow trend has been making a comeback, particularly in 2003 and 2004, as part of the Y2K revival in fashion and in beauty. With the resurgence of Y2K aesthetics, some celebrities and influencers are revisiting thin brows, but with a more modern, refined touch. Would you consider rocking the thin brow look again? Comment down below and let me know what you think. Although I do love the look of it, I don't know if I'm willing to risk my own brows for it.